to blondes and booze, you are about to embark on a journey, one that often leads to more questions than answers. But fear not, your host, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy have the experience, the perseverance, and yes, even the gifts to pull back the veil and allow us to glimpse the other side. They will share not only their experiences, but will introduce you to world-renowned researchers and experiencers to help you find answers in the murky waters of what we call the paranormal. Their bonds with each other reach far beyond friendship, resulting in a pull no punches approach to the many subjects they explore. Their goal? To open eyes, hearts, and even minds to what lies on the other side, and the answers residing there.
Hey everybody, welcome. Appreciate
Welcome, everybody
being here tonight. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Woohoo. You know what I did today? I came home from work and I took a nap.
Oh, did you?
Yep, it felt good. I needed it. It's been a while since I've been able to take a nap, you know?
Right, absolutely. I understand that. I used to understand that anyway.
Yeah.
But today I've been very busy. I had some stuff I'd been doing all day, and so it's been a productive day today. So I'm a little tired.
Yeah, actually, Letitia, she said in the chat, she said, "Yep, I woke her up." Oops, she did, but I needed to get up. It was time, so it worked out. It was just fine. That's funny. We got a lot going on. We got a lot of new shows coming out with Porch and the whole 9 yards. You want to talk briefly about some of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me run through the channels and then I'll get everybody up to speed of what's happening. As of January 15th, Texas Front Porch will still be on Mondays, but it will be at 8 p.m. Central. On Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central, of course, it's Bigfoot Michigan Rob with Beyond BMR. On Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, it's Donnie Cho Says Stuff. And at 8 o'clock, of course, Central Time, it is Inhumanoids with Barton Nunnelly and his wife, Letitia. On Thursdays at 12 p.m., it's Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And his co-host is Tex right now until, his hours are changing. So, Rob's co-host is changing. We don't know who it is yet, but, maybe we'll find out soon. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Thursday night is Blondes and Booze at 8 p.m. Central. On Friday, again at 8 p.m. Central. And on Saturdays, Tex and Daniel Diva will release their newest episode of Infamous Minds. And brand new this Sunday at 5 p.m. Central, we, meaning me and Randy, our tech guy, are releasing a brand new show. It's called Truth or Tinfoil. It's basically what it's about is we're going to take a look. There it is. Truth or Tinfoil. Yay. What it basically is we're going to take a look at photos and video clips, and we're going to check into stories and all kinds of things, and we're gonna kind of dissect them to see what we think, what our opinion is, if it's fake or should we put on our tinfoil hat. So, it was a lot of fun today. And because that's what I was doing all day as we were recording that first show. It is a brand new channel. So, if you could go over there and like and subscribe. Like I said, it is brand new. I don't think we have like 6 subscribers right now. This is brand new, hot off the presses, coming out. And just go on over there, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button, and we'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
So everybody tune into their new show on Sunday. It'd be cool. And I know Tex made a little announcement yesterday. I think it was on Rob's show. We also have somebody else joining the Texas Front Porch team.
Yes, but that is not being released yet because we've got to finalize all the little details.
But it was released. Tex talked about it on Rob's show.
Did he really?
Said who it
I
was.
hate when he does that and don't tell me.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
So
did.
actually, we are having Monica Rollins. She is going to be joining the Texas Front Porch crew. She's going to be doing her own show. We don't know exactly what time or anything yet. We're still finalizing all the details because, as you can tell, our little group is full. Our channel lineup is pretty full. So we're going to fit everybody in and squash it so you have tons to watch whenever. Go back and rewatch. Hey, we just, whatever, just take it and just run right along. If you don't know who Monica Rollins is, she was on the first season of Monster Quest. I think she was kind of like, she was one of the bigger names that I knew when it came to women and Bigfoot. So to me, she's kind of like a pioneer when it came to TV shows and women. So, and she's really nice to talk to. She has a lot of information and things about all kinds of stuff, just not Bigfoot. She's really knowledgeable. So we're looking forward to, getting her on the air. So.
Yep. It'd be fun. And thank you, DJ. Appreciate that.
Thank you, DJ.
Yeah. And one more thing that I do want to talk about is the end of this month, this right here. And
Absolutely.
It is Lone Star Paracon. It's in Schertz, Texas, January 27th. So if you guys are in the area, it is free to actually get into. And I'm not sure what it is to get into the speaker hall, but the speakers actually will be out with the vendors, so you can come and meet them for free and mingle and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think they said $40 to get into the speaker hall.
Yeah. However, if you don't have the $40 and you're in the area and you want to come and meet any of these people, you can do that for free. So
yes, for free.
So that
the vendor area will be open to the public, and all the speakers will be there.
Yep, absolutely. So that's going to be fun. The only one I do know that Jason Hawes canceled, but now he has been replaced with Sherry Benindetti. So that I do know.
Yeah, which is the same crew, which is the exact same crew. Right.
Yeah, they're all from the TAPS team. So anyway, let's not waste any more time and let's bring our lovely guest up. And there she is.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
So happy to see you.
I'm good. So excited to be back. Yeah. How are you guys?
Doing good. Really good.
But evidently, as we were talking backstage, we were talking about manifesting. You are doing a lot better than I am.
Oh, oh goodness.
That's why this show, this show is like kind of important, because I think we need to learn how to manifest these things and to enrich our lives in ways we didn't know. And this is one good way to do it. So I'm excited about it.
Yep. Me too. Just there's so much to it, and I don't know. You're the lady behind it. So teach us.
I mean, I think that the first thing that one really has to focus on is letting go of fear. We're magnets in this world, and the energy and the thoughts that we send out, we're going to pull that right back to us. And, over the holiday season, I definitely had my own snafu, if you will. And I had two choices. I could either sit there and be the drowning man, flailing my arms and going to fear and having things get worse, or I could just try and float and release it to the universe and just believe, which can be very hard. And in the end, this morning, things just kind of fell together, and it was absolutely amazing. And I've noticed that the more you do it, and then when you see these results and you write it down or you talk about it, you are grateful for it, the universe is always sending you gifts. And we can always thank the universe, for the gifts that we haven't even received yet, because they are on the way. So yeah, fear, I would say, is the biggest roadblock within this field.
Wow. Yeah. I would, how would we start that? How does someone start? Like, okay, I want to manifest,
Okay.
love and abundance, say.
Well, gosh, I can tell you a story. This was back, I was married, and it was a really tough marriage. And this was the very first, when I really realized that this was something tangible, something that I had control over. So I was married for 12 years, and it was there's no other way to say it. It was an abusive marriage. And I had nothing at the time. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, where I was going to go. I didn't have a job history. I wasn't really allowed to get out of the house and work and everything. I didn't have money. I didn't have a car. He sold off my car. And one day, it was funny, I was actually watching Peaky Blinders. And I remember with Thomas Shelby, he got like the stipends every month to be able to go out and buy your flour and your lard and everything. So he goes out and he's supposed to pick up these groceries for his mom. And he brings them back. And when he was out there, he saw a top hat and a coconut. And he was like, this is what I want for my family. I'm tired of living off of flour and lard, and we deserve better than this. My mother deserves better than this. So he brings back a top hat and a coconut. And of course, she beat him silly because that was, their money. And now how are they going to eat and everything? But since then, he was able to bring his family up, and they didn't go without after that. And I got to thinking about that, and I was like, maybe I should just trust, and I should try to let go of fear. And I'm just going to do it. And so I found a way to the courthouse, and I got papers, and I asked for my divorce. And sure enough, everything was granted to me, and I was able to get a car. And then within a month, I had a job, and it wasn't just a job; it was a career. I became a dental assistant, and I remember just sitting there being in awe that all these things happened. And it really starts with putting that intention out there. I'm going to do this. This is what I want for me. But it needs to be something that really aligns with your highest and best purpose, if that makes sense. Right. So that's the first step. Does it align with your soul and your highest and best purpose? And then you say, you know what? I'm worth this. I deserve it. And this is what it's going to be. And then you just have to try your best and trust. And that's the hardest part, is not going to fear, because there was so many times when I was going through like the divorce, and I had to go in front of a judge, and I was scared. I'd never done anything like that before, but it all ended up working out. And then since then, life has just been so phenomenal. I never thought that I'd fly. I never thought I'd get out of Oregon. I thought that, I'd watch everybody else do it, but I wanted to one day. And now in my divorce was in 2018. So just within that short period of time, I've moved across the country. I've traveled outside of the United States. I don't remember how many states I've actually been to now. And it really just comes down to aligning it with your purpose as best as you can. And I believe that, because I always knew that I was, how do I want to phrase it? I feel like there's a calling of some sort for me here. Yeah. And it's always been within healing of the self and helping heal others, and really, ushering in kind of a new way of being, because we can get really lost within our fear and our trauma, our pain stories. And it can be hard to break out of that. But once we can, we are the co-creators of our world.
Yeah.
So
that is true. That is very true.
And, that was a huge thing that you did, to move across the country. I'm not so sure I could have done that. And I know,
It
I know you have children. I met them at the Dogman
Yeah.
conference. So, I mean, just to uproot, and take that leap, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it was terrifying because, it started out with the thought of it. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, this is what I want to do. And so the thought becomes a plan, and
Mhm.
that's the other thing. That's the other big part of it. What do you wish that can happen?
Right.
Turn it into from a wish to a goal and
Mhm.
go after it and believe in it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did with this move. And it's also what I did with when I went to Ireland. And it was definitely scary because I got a Mazda, and we hooked up the U-Haul trailer to it. And there was no problems. We made
Yeah.
it across the US without any issue. And now I'm here in Texas, and it's definitely a different world here.
Yeah.
I mean, from the flora, the fauna, and just the way that things are done here as well. There's a lot of difference. And
Sure.
there's many times that I sit there and go, wow, am I really here?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a huge leap of faith, but it sounds like, you were manifesting it, and
Yeah.
it worked,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just,
Well, and what's crazy too is that once you start doing it and you start recognizing, oh, wait a second, I manifested that. I did that. Once you
Mhm.
realize that, you can see that it actually starts happening faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
So when I ended up getting my divorce, what was so crazy is I was volunteering at the dental office and helping my best friend. She was the manager.
Mhm.
And then they just said, all right, you're going to be the assistant. And I was like, okay. And then I was talking to her and I said, man, I really wish that I could move back to our hometown. And then our
Mhm.
kids could go to the same babysitter. We could carpool and everything. And that would be perfect because I was living, it was about an hour away from there.
Mhm.
And so I laughed, and we were at work one day and I said, well, universe juice, let's see. And
Yeah.
so I pulled up Craigslist, and the place that I ended up getting, it was actually the very first listing on Craigslist. And
Mhm.
there was literally one house between myself and my best friend. It
Wow.
was nuts. It was nuts. And I had it
Wow.
within 24 hours. It was mine. They were really responsive. Everything went through, and there it was. I mean, and that was literally the second I had said, all right, universe juice, and pulled up Craigslist, boom, it happened. It was immediate.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty amazing. The thing about you too, and I've told you this before, when we met back in September, you just had this wonderful aura about you, so like as
Thank
far as
you.
these manifestations and things, like I feel like you put out just good, just your whole persona
Aw,
is very positive.
thank
And I
It
you.
think
is.
that helps too.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that means more than truly. And that's been the basis of the Caravan, my podcast, and KPNL, the radio station, because there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world. And when we are unhealed and when we're fear-based,
Hmm.
we radiate that out, and then the way that we interact with others. And the
Hmm.
big thing is when I first did my very first interview and I was talking about my experiences, I couldn't believe the feedback that I got.
Hmm.
I was surprised that people from all over the world had similar experiences. And then other people said that because I spoke about it, that it gave them the bravery to talk about it.
Hmm.
And when that happened, it was so powerful. And then I was like, I want to do this on a bigger scale. And so therefore I did the Caravan, because then, and from there I realized it could be even bigger with KPNL.
Right.
And I also know how hard it is, because there was a couple times, one of them was a teaching job. They loved me. I interviewed for this school, and I even had parents being like, "Oh, is she the new teacher?" And I was just an interview. I was just there for the day, and everybody loved me, and they had this extra program that they wanted to put me through. And then they found out about the caravan, and they asked me not to return. So
Really?
I've lost job opportunities because of being a part of the field.
Really?
And
Wow.
and I think that it's because of fear. The
Mhm.
thing is a lot of us we've built a really nice, secure box, and our box holds our beliefs and the things that we can kind of wrap our heads around and stuff like that. But as soon as somebody finds a door on it and says, "Hey, come check this out,"
Yeah.
they're like, "No way." And then the fear, and I think that I wish that I knew a way to manifest people being able to go outside their boxes and find that self-healing, because I think it would be not just great for the individual, but also not just our community, but also the whole of humanity. And I think that that's also something that kind of maybe stifles research and finding certain answers is that.
And here's the thing too, people want to manifest, it's probably not going to happen tomorrow, because
Right.
I feel like, it's something that takes time,
Oh yeah. Well, you have to, there may be certain things that are in your way, and those things have to go before you can get the blessing or whatever it is. There's these pictures that I've seen online that they talk about like awakening, and it says what I thought awakening was, and it's this person and they're maybe drinking a mimosa and they're in these white clothes. It's like they're on a vacation. And then the next picture says, but what it really is, and there's this person like fighting to stay alive, drowning in this ocean. And we have to do the hard work. There's shadow work, the dark night of the soul. We have to face ourselves and really figure out what is it that we truly want and why do we want it. And if we don't know, and if we're not ready, then the universe is going to wait.
Yeah, absolutely. 110%. It's I don't know. I'm all about it. And I was excited about this show because, I feel like in some way, reflecting on my life, you said you went through a divorce. I did too. However, my divorce was 20 something years ago, but, same thing, abusive relationship, bad relationship. And I just, I had to put myself and my kids first, and when I finally broke free, things just happened because I worked for them,
Oh yeah.
And I know Brandy can probably relate to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My question is meditation part of that, the whole manifesting thing? Because I know that you're supposed to get up and you're supposed to have these daily affirmations and keep repeating to yourself what you want to happen. Can meditation help you achieve that too? I mean,
yeah, there's actually a lot of different, I would say that it's about focused energy. So you can either create a vision board, and as you're creating this vision board and you're cutting out the pictures of the representations of what you want, the creation of that vision board, you're focusing that energy into what it is that you're wanting, and you're manifesting it as you're doing this. Same thing with meditation. If you're sitting there and you're, let's say you give 10 minutes a day and you're just having that blank mind, and maybe you have an intention when you are, you don't always have to. I would say meditation isn't, I don't know, people may disagree with me here, but I don't think that you have to have necessarily a blank mind to meditate. You can, but you can also have it be focused on something in particular and just let your mind, you can light a candle with the intention of, and then that gets into the ideas of magic and witchcraft and stuff like that. But really, it's all just tools to focus your energy, because it's your mind. I think that, our thoughts are energy, and the more energy you put into something, it is created. That's how I believe that our world works. So yes, I do believe that would definitely be a powerful exercise in manifesting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Cause, meditation though, for me is difficult, because my mind wanders, or I, I lay there too long. Next thing I know, I'm asleep, you know what I'm saying? So it's
all part of it.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. I don't think that there's a wrong way to meditate. You can sit there and try to clear your mind, and that may be meditating for one person. Another person, you could put on some Wardruna and just let the song take you away, and that's a form of meditation. And then, sometimes I've fallen asleep many times when I've went to meditate, and I think that it's your body going into a deeper meditation and really, deeply manifesting things. It puts you right into the connection to the source.
Yeah. What about you, Brandy?
Well, I'm going to blurt this out now. Nobody in chat, your minds are not to go in the gutter. But I'm going to tell you how I meditate. Do not let your minds go in the gutter. I know how you think. Basically, I like to meditate when I have a full, nice, warm bath with like salt or something like that, because the weightlessness that I feel like when I'm in the tub, where I can just let my arms float and my body, like I don't feel the aches and pains or anything like that. It's just easier for me to clear and get focused and just to go that way with it. I cannot just sit there and clear my head. I am not one of those people. I am not that disciplined. I actually have to like force myself into a situation where I have to relax. And, I know a lot of people are like that. I'm kind of high strung. So I have to force myself to just stop and calm down.
Yeah.
So, and that's, and so when I get in the bathtub and I'm feeling that weightlessness, like I said, it's just everything. It takes the ease off my muscles and my joints and just float.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, they have these float tanks I've always wanted to try. And it's like salt water, and you go in there and it's just, it's like you're floating in nothingness. And I've always been intrigued by trying something like that, because I am somebody who also, I love using a bath to just clear my mind and just to be. And I think that there is history behind that as well, because so how do I my brain is always going with so many different ideas here.
Yes.
Scrying. People would often scry with mirrors or reflective surfaces, water being one of them. And I've often been really curious about water being I guess it would be a conductor of some sort energetically. And I've wondered about, because I heard somewhere that you don't want to drink the water that's beside your bed in the morning, because somehow it absorbed your dreams, and that it can actually change the taste of the water.
Really?
And actually, to further on that, there was a Japanese scientist named Dr. Masaru Emoto, who did the experiments of thought on water. And he held one water bottle and said beautiful things to it and looked at it under a microscope. And then he did the same thing with another one and said horrible things to it. And our thoughts really do change the molecular structure of water. And so then, therefore, that would make sense why the water would taste different possibly, after being next to your bed and you dreaming and absorbing it. Well, then further on that, it would make sense to use somehow the water when you're meditating and how it all goes together. You know, I've wondered if there isn't a way, if you go into a haunted location, if you could access something stored within the water from either the spirits there or energy timestamps, or, you know, that's kind of a whole different rabbit hole.
Yeah, well, yes and no, because the water is a conduit. So it makes sense that it could, it's like when you put limestone and water together, it promotes energy and it can hold energy. And that makes sense. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I like I said, you were talking about the tanks full of water, but you have to add salt. You have to have that salt factor in your water. It could be just something as simple as Epsom salts. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. But yeah, I could see that. But now I'm going to have to move my water because I always have water next to my bed every night. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to pick it up and move it. I'm going to have to I don't know, because I have water bottles wherever I go, so I'm going to have to pick it up, put it on the floor or something. Put it somewhere where it's not next to me.
I changed mine as well once I found that out, because it did. I don't know. Before I ever learned about it, I always did wonder why my water tasted funny. And so I thought, well, maybe it's the water bottle, or maybe, but then there was that idea. So I don't do that.
Well, that water's been sitting in your bottle for a long time. It wasn't put in there yesterday.
Right.
It's been sitting in that water bottle. Gosh, now I'm just going to change everything. But, going on to about water. Okay. So water is my ultimate soother. It's my calming area. It doesn't matter if it's the ocean, a river, a bathtub, a pool, anywhere that I can hit water, but I'm also a water sign.
Oh, I was just going to ask.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to tell everybody, I'm a Cancer. I'm a crybaby. Okay. I'm a crybaby, and I'm really not. I'm really not a crybaby. My biggest fault is sometimes I forget to cry, but I am like I said, I am a Cancer, and I'm supposed to be the crybaby, but I am sensitive. I'm just not the out loud crier. So, I mean, when using water, I kind of get rid of that stress. And instead of letting it come outward, I just let it kind of seep through my pores out, because I'm not a real big crier at all. But do you think that our astrological signs do kind of point us in the right direction on what we should do for our own calming method?
I believe that. I'm a Scorpio. And,
me too. I'm a Scorpio too.
Yeah, and I've got Cancer moon, and so I'm all deep water here. And I have always found peace, being whether I'm in the bath, whether I'm at the ocean, whether I'm at a stream. And I've always had, in fact, my book that I published, I actually only wrote in it either A, when it was raining outside, or B, I was in the bath. But I was always only writing when there was water.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, if I can get to the water, and it doesn't matter if I'm upset or anything like that, I will go to water. But I will also tell you this. I mean, we talked about this, I don't know if it was last night or last week, but we also talked about when I go to haunted locations, that if I feel a little crazy, I will take my shoes and socks off, and I don't even care. I'll go stick them outside in the dirt.
Yeah.
I don't even care if it's snowing. We're going to it. We're going to do that, because that's the next part that makes me feel calm. It grounds me, and and they say the earth is supposed to help you. It'll ground you. Very quickly. I remember, Krista, we were talking about that, hugging a tree or something. I think that's what it was. I said, I'll go outside. I'll take my shoes and socks off and hug a tree. I ain't ashamed. I'll
Oh,
go
yeah.
do it.
Right.
Well, growing up in the Pacific Northwest, I was really, really lucky. I mean, these lush fern-filled forests, and of course, my dad was big into rock hunting or rock hounding
Mhm.
and camping, and then of course I was in search and rescue and all of that.
Oh.
And so I absolutely love being out in the woods. And I definitely have noticed that I'm somebody that is prone to getting really depressed and feeling very disconnected. But if I can get outside into a
Mhm.
forest of some sort, it really does make it all better. And it's like it overfills my cup, because then not only am I feeling healed, but now I'm feeling inspired, and I'm able to create more, and I'm able to, have new ideas and all of that stuff. And I would say that that's been one of the most tricky things about relocating from the Pacific Northwest into Texas, because I feel like it's a bit of a desert.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
connecting to the land here has definitely been a bit of a challenge.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm still learning how do I navigate that? How can I find a bit of that grounding and that peace and that
Sure.
energetic connection here?
Absolutely.
So yes, everything that you're saying is 1,000% valid and true, and yeah,
And it all ties in with manifesting,
it does.
Yeah.
manifesting your truth and what you need in your life,
Mhm.
Yeah, I just saw that Dana Stricker had just popped into chat.
Mhm.
She is wonderful when you talk to her about that stuff. Just wonderful. Of course, she's a psychic medium. She's also with the Solstice Sisters. She has a lot going for her, and that lady has a lot to say, and it's all good stuff. It's feel good stuff, and that's what you really need to pay attention to yourself sometimes, I think.
Oh yeah.
But this whole manifesting things, because I'm really personally running through a string of misfortune. And that is
Mm.
not exaggerating. It's just a string of it. It's not just one thing happened and that was it. No, it just keeps happening. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to do more than what I'm trying to do. And I think what you're saying is fear, and that may be part of my issue.
Mhm.
It's like fear. This is not going to happen for me. Fear that, all these things are kind of closing in, and it makes you feel claustrophobic.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. There
and
was a Oh, go ahead.
no, you fine. Just go ahead. I want to hear what you had to say.
Oh, well, I was gonna, it's one of those things where, as you're talking, there's a class that it is just such a big, like I have to bring this up. There was a class, and I forget okay, the first run, it was called the Mind Detox. And then the second time that I took it at a more advanced level, it was called the Shakti Challenge. And I remember when I signed up for it, it was saying that it was almost like there was a warning
Mhm.
that when you start this process, it's going to be an earthquake. Things are going to, the stuff that no longer serves you is going to leave your life. And we don't always know necessarily what is really here to serve our highest and best purpose. And then sometimes we aren't ready to face the truth. When it comes to a family member or a job or
Yeah.
something like that, we built this idea in this life, and we just don't want it to go away because it's what we're used to, even though we know that it might not be the best thing. So when you say that you're going through a string of unfortunate events, are these things that are leaving your life because they are no longer serving your highest and best purpose? Is it one of those things where in the end, this is paving the way to the greater goal?
Very true.
Well, and I think you're right. I think you're right in most of what's happening. So my biggest problem is patience. That
Yeah.
is a problem. You know, we come from a society of instant gratification. And I
Yes.
think that a lot of people, like, they want it and they want it now. And I'm one of those people. I am definitely one of those
I'm with you.
people.
I'm with
Yeah,
you.
it's kind of like I
Yeah.
want things to happen and I want things to happen right now. And I
Mhm.
get impatient. And I believe that maybe some of that is hindering me, you know, moving on to whatever my greater purpose is.
Right.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm confused. Do you see how much we needed to talk to you, man? I mean, we needed to talk to you.
Well, it is hard. It's, you know, and that brings up the whole, oh man, divine timing. And that's really hard because there again, it's you know, patience is, I mean, it's hard for me.
Mhm.
It is so hard for me. You
Yeah,
know,
but
like I said, when I'm talking about this, when I'm saying we are just a whole society of this, I mean, look at what we've got. We've got fast food, fast this, fast everything. I mean, even my oil change is at a fast something or
yeah,
other. You know, it's just kind of like we want it done and we want it done now. We don't take the
right,
Really
time
wait.
to wait. It's the patience thing. Oh my
right.
God. We're today as a society, I think we're all like in a hurry.
We are. We're in a hurry. And the other thing, too, is that I think that during those pauses, the times that we're having to really participate in patience, this is a really sacred time to look at the thing, whatever it is at hand, the thing that is immediately in front of you, and face it in a way where you're like, okay, you were in my life for this amount of time. You served your purpose, and I thank you. But now it's done, and it's time to move on, and it's time to let you go. And within that period of time of patience and facing these things,
Mhm.
we have that opportunity to heal. But a lot
Yeah.
of people, it's painful. It is very painful. And it's easier to brush it under the rug or ignore it or not face it or anything like that and just try and, you know, but eventually it will catch up. And then the other thing too is if you don't heal it and you don't move on from it,
Mhm.
it's kind of like putting a roadblock there to where the universe can't give you that gift now. It's going, well,
Mhm.
you're not ready for it yet.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense. It truly does. That makes sense. I mean, I feel like you have to give a little bit to get a little bit, if I may. So,
right.
as far as like forgiveness, you can't
Mhm.
have all these negative thoughts and
No.
then ask for, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the biggest thing is forgiveness of the self.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of
And
people
that
don't.
is, I believe that one is the hardest for me
Yeah.
because I
Right.
think that a lot of the things that are happening are due to my own fault. I
Yeah.
can't be blamed for everything. And I don't want to say that everything is for the greater good. I mean, I want to believe that. But I believe that, and
Right.
I blame myself for a lot of things. Like if I had made a different decision or I had done
Mhm.
something differently, you know, just in a minute
But
way.
it's
Yeah.
one of those things where when we make decisions, so who I was back in 2018 is not who I am today, is not who I will be 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
So the decisions that I made in my past were made up of who I was in that moment. And, you know, and I have had to face, you know, because one of my biggest things is so I was in the marriage that I was in, and I suffered for it, and so did my children.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed way too long.
Right.
And I sat there and thought, you know what? for every day I stayed, I was hurting my children because they were around that man. And that is my fault that my children were hurt because of my choices. And I could go down that road if I wanted to, and I could self-blame, and I could, hate myself, and I could all those types of things. But I wasn't in the space at that time, and I had to forgive myself and be like, I wasn't ready yet. We wouldn't have made it quite then. We wouldn't be where we are today. Sure. But it can be a really hard thing to love yourself enough to forgive yourself and be like, I was in my way a little bit at the time, but I did the best for what I had and who I was.
Right. Well, Dana had made a comment, and Krista threw it up there. It makes sense. It's like what is waiting for us maybe was not available at that particular time. It's just, it's just like when we think all else has failed, it hasn't failed. It's just not ready for us. We just have to wait and stay the course, as they say. Stay the course. It's coming. It's just, you still have to believe that, that and manifest these things and meditate on these things to make it happen. That made a lot of sense. Okay. I'm like,
right. Okay. No, that's wonderful. And it makes me think of this other quote that I really held close to me during all that time. It said, someone handed me a box of darkness once, and it took me a while to figure out that this too was a gift. And, sometimes we go through those hard things. So that way we come out of it later on and we end up meeting somebody else that maybe is going through what we went through. And then we get to be that shining light for them. And so, I do believe in the divine timing and experiencing things for a bigger picture,
Absolutely. You may not see it now, but it's
it does remind me of something that I actually had just wrote it down like a few years ago. And what I had said to myself when I wrote it down in my journal is kind of like a thought, a poem. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was like, I dropped myself into darkness and I asked darkness, can I stay here? Darkness said to me, you can for a little while, but you don't belong to me.
I love that. Wow.
And I wrote that, and it wasn't a very dark time in my life. And I don't feel that dark now, though. I mean, I don't feel that dark. And I think that it's just coaching yourself and being your own cheerleader, really. It's just kind of like, we're going to do better. This is going to be a better day. This is, this is not forever. This part of my life is temporary.
Right.
So, and like I said, most of that is just kind of like, I'm just waiting and waiting. And that patience is just, I feel like it derails you. Like you get in the mood and you're like, it's going to be better. It's going to be better. And you're like, when is it going to be better? And it's like, I have to start back at square one again. I don't know about anybody else, but that's how I feel about it.
It's true. And there's a story that I learned when I was doing the Shakti challenge. He would tell us different stories, the teacher would. And I feel like this fits what we're talking about. So you have this guru and you have his disciples, and they come up to the guru and they say, we want to have this contest to see who's best. One of them wanted to be the star pupil of guru. And he said, okay, what do you want to do? And they said, let's do archery. Because, they had this one disciple his name was Arjuna, and they were jealous of him. And they wanted to prove that they were just as good as he was. So he goes and they go out to this field and they have their bows and arrows. And there is a bird in a tree that's out in the meadow. And the goal is to shoot the arrow through the eye of the bird.
Oh, okay.
So they go out And the first one goes up to him, and the guru says, okay. And he has his arrow ready, and he says, do you see the meadow? And he says, yes, I see the meadow. And he says, do you see the tree? He says, yes, I see the tree. No. Back of the line, you're out. Done. Failed. Next guy goes up. He says, do you see the tree? And he says, yes, I see the tree. He says, do you see the bird? He says, yes, Guru, I see the bird. Nope. Back of the line as well. So then it becomes Arjuna's turn. And he says, do you see the tree? Arjuna says, no, Guru, I do not see the tree. Do you see the bird? He says, no, I don't see the bird. He says, are you sure you don't see the bird? And he says, no, Guru, I do not see the bird. And so he goes, do you see the eye of the bird? And Arjuna says, yes. So Guru says, okay, you can let loose your arrow. And he gets the eye of the bird. And the moral of the story here is that your focus has to just be on the eye of the bird, not the bird, not the tree, not the meadow, just the eye, just the angle. And I think if we can narrow it down like that, then it's that focused energy, which makes manifesting, more precise, more powerful, and faster.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we've reached the 52-minute mark. Krista, why don't we take that 5-minute break? I'm sorry, everybody. We're trying not to take all these breaks, but I have been drinking coffee for a little while now, and I have to take a break.
Yes, you can do that.
Take a break. Even though we don't want to do the 5-minute break, we're going to do it because I gotta go.
Okay, I understand. So guys, stick with us. We'll be back in 5 minutes. This has been great. Seriously. I'm really learning. Yeah.
Yeah, it has.
Yep. 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
5 minutes, everybody.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Thanks for sticking around, everybody. We're back.
Thank you. I ran fast.
Yeah, I did too, actually. I didn't realize I really had to go.
Well, we were talking about it before the show and I was fine. I was like, well, I'm good. It'll be all right. And then Chris was like, well, I've been drinking tea all day. I was like, oh no.
You know what that means. And
then it popped to me. I'm like, oop. Probably about 45 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is getting urgent. But I'm all good now, everybody. I'm all good.
Good. Let's get back to it.
Okay. Let me get back into the frame of mind here, because it is a very deep and broad subject that we're discussing here. Because we're talking about really making 2024 better than the past years we've been having, because they have been miserable. And, we're still facing COVID. Unfortunately, we're still facing a lot of things now. The flu strand is going out, A, B, and whatever strand they got. A lot of people are coming down, very sick, and our hearts go out to you. And it's just, there's a lot of strain and stress that we're dealing with, and this is actually helping me, because I'm one of those. I'm under tremendous strain and stress,
right?
And it makes me feel better, though, that I can put it out there and discuss it, and to have people in chat saying, yeah, well, I'm there too, and it's actually a great support.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It's important.
Yeah, I think a great support base is good for everyone, and
important.
Sometimes it's not always available,
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I can just say whatever on here, and everybody's like, "Well, yeah, I'm going through that." So, I'm sorry for you. I am sorry for you, but hey, you're not alone. I'm right with you.
Yeah. No, it's really important. And I feel very blessed to be able to come on here and talk about this with you guys, and to be a part of this, community and everything. And, you said the way, about making 2024 better, and all the different things that we're going through, all of humanity. It's important to, I really believe in the fact that if we heal ourselves, then essentially we can heal the world, because it does start within. And, another example too of how connected we are and everything, and how important your mind frame is.
Right.
Let's say you wake up in the morning and you're late for work. Okay. you're late, you're nervous, you're full of that energy, and you're just sitting there going, I'm going to be late. I have to have these green lights, and I need this and I need that. And all of a sudden, somebody really slow pulls in front of you. And then you're hitting every single red light.
Right.
and it's
Right.
horrible. Right. Well, that creates a chain reaction. So let's say you're sitting there yelling at people and you give somebody a foul look that day, and then they end up internalizing it, and then they, go home and maybe they treat their spouse like crap or something. And on the other side, if you try to center yourself and you try to relax and you go, you know what, I'm going to choose my day. And I'm going to choose to try and put out as much positive energy as I can. And then all of a sudden you notice, wait, I'm getting these green lights and traffic's going pretty well. And so now you're happy and you smile at somebody who's walking down the street. Well, then all of a sudden that person is happy because, oh, wow, the stranger smiled at me. And maybe they were having a tough day, but this random act of kindness now has lightened up their world. So what do? Maybe they buy somebody's coffee that's standing behind them. And on it goes. Yeah. And I don't think that we think about that enough. Yeah. How we affect each other and how our internal selves has a ripple throughout everything here. Right. And I think that if we can do anything for 2024, if we can take that and really start to think about it and really realize that that's going to be your base. Sure. To be able to change things.
Well, that's another thing. And you're talking about what you can do to change people's moods or just the general way they do things around you by putting out that, good vibration is a good term for it. It's like Krista and I had said before the New Year's is we're going to take everything that we had grudges on or had bad feelings about, and we're just going to throw it to the side. We're not going to worry about that anymore. It's none of our business if you're having a bad day. I'm very sorry, but I do wish peace for you.
Right.
I do wish that in your life. And I guess I do manifest that in a way now because, Krista and I have talked about it. And I'm like, well, yeah. Because we've been under attack and I don't hold any grudges. If you're feeling that bad about things, I'm sorry. And I wish peace for you, and that's our feelings on that. It's just, I'm sorry you're feeling that way, but you're not going to change my mood. Right. And change the way I feel. So, unfortunately, there are people out there that are just, completely upset up all the time. We call them usually the energy vamps. We've had that discussion.
Right.
That just try to suck the energy right out of you. And it's not happening in my life anymore. And that's what those grudges, they were sucking the life out of me. Yep. And I just.
Right. Well, if you hold on to that, then you're holding on to that energy. And you're telling the universe, I still want all of this because I'm going to hold on to it. I'm not going to let it go. And so the universe goes, okay, I'm going to feed that to you then. Right. And so, I'm proud of you. That's amazing to be able to just be like, you know what? Here's the grudges. I'm going to let them go. It doesn't serve my highest and best purpose. Right. And I think that because I've heard I'm really bad. So I kind of do live like an ostrich a little bit here because I am a mom. I've moved and I'm trying to figure out like regular everyday life. But I have heard a little bit about that within the community. There's fights that happen. There's attacks that happen. There's all this kind of stuff. And I hope that within 2024 that somehow that can change. And I think sometimes, because I've had people say awful things to me directly. And what I've done is I've thought, well, I wonder what happened in their life that hurt them so bad that they have to now hurt people outside of themselves. I look at it as a big cry for help. They need healing. And so I have tried to just be like, I disengage, but I wish them well. And I hope that whatever pain within them, whatever is broken, whatever needs healing, needs addressed, that it can. And I think that a lot of the times it can be really hard for people to do that because we are very reactionary. It's taken a long time to be able to learn that if somebody does something to you, you don't just immediately react. That's not always the best, way to go about it. You want to try to separate yourself from it. We do have power to choose our emotions and how we want to take things. And there again, that's something else that I don't think that a lot of people pay attention to because they are wrapped up in their pain stories. So, and then here again, bringing back the manifestation, if we as a collection, as a community, if we can really start thinking about that and wishing those people who are broken to heal, more of us that wish those well, the more probability of it happening, and maybe something does change on that energetic particle, level that connects us all. We just have to do the work.
But again, it starts with yourself, like it goes back to square one. Years ago, Sarah Lamos, and it sounds silly, but she's right. She had told me, put on your mirror, because that's everybody gets dressed in the morning, they look on their mirror. And she said, right, you are beautiful inside and out. And you see that every day. Every time you go in there to wash your hands, go to the bathroom, take a shower, you see that. And it starts to become an impression in your mind. So eventually you start believing it. Therefore, it can change your whole mindset.
Oh, yeah. Your self-talk is imperative.
Yeah.
Well, and I know a lot of people have been here. It's when you're going through a hard time and you think the whole world is against you. Every time that you look in that mirror, it seems like you're getting uglier. Like, your whole thing is that you're just uglier to look at when you look in that mirror. But when things are going good and everything is right in your universe, well, then you see yourself as you really are. And that's beautiful. Everybody's beautiful. I mean, you just have to see that. You have to look past the ugliness of fear and stress.
Yeah.
You just have to look past that and see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get it. It's only taking us about an hour. Probably might take about 10 more hours, but I'm seeing where this road can lead you. And I mean,
and it can be hard, to sit there and tell yourself that you're beautiful and you're this and you're that and really build yourself up. Sometimes it's really hard. That's where some people are really broken, and maybe they went through different experiences. I mean, I am one of those people that, due to my upbringing and life experiences, I'll never forget it. When I had a therapist and we were talking, and it came to the surface that I really, truly, in that moment, in that time in my life, did not believe I was lovable. I did not think that I was worth love. I did not think that anybody would love or care about me in any way. And to face that, to actually face, oh my gosh, that's what I really think about me. That's really what I think about other people interacting with me. It was devastating. And it was definitely painful. But I identified where my starting point was. And then you do that work, and you do you get rid of the negative self-talk. And sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing negative self-talk. Right. And, you have to start catching it. You have to start being aware of it. And then you can change just little words within it. And a profound healing takes place, but it can take years. It just depends on how dedicated you are to it and also where you're at on that journey. Because like I said, it is painful.
Yeah. And it's something very hard to start to do for yourself, because I did that 12 years ago, and it was hard to put that up there, on the mirror.
Yeah.
It was, but I had to take that first step to do it,
Yeah.
to turn it
Exactly.
around, and it is difficult because, as you said, a lot of people, you don't even realize, like, you downgrade yourself, but don't even realize, that you're doing that. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I've been sitting in the same spot in my mindset for a few years now. And I have finally figured that in 2024, I'm gonna move on from that spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not working for me. It's not doing what I needed to do in my life, and I'm unhappy with it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to make the effort to move on from that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it's going to be a big year. I'm not going to say it's my year because I don't dare say that, but I'm going to say I'm going to make a better year than it has been. I mean, these last couple of years have just really just tore this whole world down to a point where I think that we're snappier at people and we just carry around more negativity. And I feel that we've got to release that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And manifesting is a good way to do that.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, you're not dealing with anybody else's universe. You're dealing with your own.
Right.
And making your universe makes you a better person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're better to be around. You're nicer to be around because, they're just like you, Ann, you are one of those people that other people are drawn to. It's kind of like you as a person make me feel better about myself. I enjoy being around you, talking to you.
Yep.
It energizes my soul.
Aw.
And there are people, there are people out in the world that are like that.
Yes.
And I need to readjust my thing. I don't want to be a fixer. Because I've had a lot of that in my life where somebody has come into my life and they needed fixing. And I felt the motherly instinct, like, I need to fix you, and that's where a lot of our energies go.
Yeah. Boy, that's a big point that you just made, Brandy, about like trying to fix everybody because you can't.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from that. If you are nurturing, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, if you are a natural born nurturer, people with problems will gravitate to you.
Yeah.
They will gravitate to you. And unfortunately, that takes a toll on people who like to nurture.
Yeah.
It does. There's I remember after my divorce, I found an article. The title was something akin to The Dance of the Empath and the Narcissist. And it went right into all of that.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm proud of both of you guys for being on this path that you are on, that you guys have that awareness, that you're making the choices that you're making, that you can verbalize these things that you want, because this is all, these beautiful steps and being able to get there in the end. And another thing that that's kind of coming to the surface that I remember from the Shakti Challenge was this meditation that he had us do. And you envisioned this circle around you as who you are now. And then you envision a circle, and in that circle is you when you're much older. So, maybe 20, 30 years ahead of what you are now. Right. And you look at this person and you really envision, what do they look like? What is their life like? And you just kind of allow yourself to connect with that, and also connect with, what do you want you to be at that age? What are the things that you're hoping that you achieved by then? What are, all this stuff? And then what ends up happening as you do the meditation, and you do it, a little bit every day, you actually end up getting closer and closer to the other circle. And in the end, you actually merge with your older self. And it's in regards to really embodying that in the here and now and accepting that as your future and being like, you know what, I deserve this. This is how it will be. And I'm starting on that path today. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it just, you know, and if you really think about it, you know, we are our biggest barrier, you know, and it sounds so easy. Oh, just do this, and this. But to get over that and, you know, talk freely, talk positively about yourself, you know, it makes all the world of difference, you know.
It does.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I am a grudge holder.
Me too.
I'm just I am one of those people. I'm a grudge holder. And I'm slowly starting to figure out you don't have to hold that grudge, but you don't have to be friends with those people either.
Right.
Just, you know, take the time to cut them out and continue on without holding that. Just say, well, they're over here and that's where they're going to stay. And, you know, I'm slowly learning that that's all it takes. I don't have to be mad with them. You know, I don't have to be mad with them. They're just going to have to stay over there while I continue on.
Right.
You know, it's like placing them in back of you and saying, well, that's where you're going to have to stay in my rear view because that's, you know, you're not going to hold that kind of relevance in my life anymore. And I mean, this has taken me quite a long time to come to where I'm at. And I've got such a long way to go. A long way to go. A long way to go.
Path too. You know, you're creating your path. You know, you're like you're opening up and you're admitting that you have these, I'm going to call them faults right now.
Absolutely.
First step is I feel like admitting to it. Now your next step is going to be doing something about it. Same with me. I'm not faultless. Believe me, I'm right with you, Brandy. You know, but you know, start and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. You know.
Oh yeah. Nope. And I mean, same with me. I'm somebody who has, you know, I have a lot of anxiety. I've got a lot of social anxiety, and you know, the way that I look at it as I am the eternal student, and we are all on our own path. So where you are isn't where you will be, isn't where I will be. And that's okay. We're all perfectly exactly where we need to be right now here in this moment.
Yeah.
And we'll always be learning. And that's the beauty of it. And I think that a lot of people as well don't kind of, you know, hone down and think of it that way because they think, oh, I should be further ahead. I shouldn't be doing this or I shouldn't be doing that. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just, you know, I'm tired of holding this. It's like I'm done with it. I'm done. You know, it's like, I'm done. I could, you know, I want to feel better. I want to be happy. I want to do all these things. And like you said, we have to tell ourselves it's going to be better, but it all requires change. We have to move with it. We can't just say, hey, I want this to happen, but do nothing for it. I mean, it's kind of like, well, I want this job. Well, you're going to have to apply for that job. You know, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to go there. And that's, 2024 is like I'm telling everybody, it's going to be different than it has been. I'm not living there anymore. I'm not living in the past. I can't do it. It's just too much. There's too many people out there that just want to harbor this anger and go ahead. You just do that. You're just going to have to do it over there. That's all.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't align with your highest and best purpose. And so thank you for the part you played.
Right.
Now we're good. Right. So I'm going to go over here. So that's really awesome.
Right. Well, you know what we need to do is we need to talk about, since we're about, we got 10 minutes. We need to talk about this book you're putting together and with whom you're putting it together, and give us a little brief description about what's happening.
Yeah, so when we met at the Dogman Conference, I actually did a presentation with Ron Murphy, and our presentation was a bit different. We were wanting to take a historical approach to the Dogman phenomenon in regards to, it's called ethnocenology, which is the study of man and dog and the interactions of them. And if we look at it through history, we see that we walked alongside of them, and then we began to anthropomorphize them, and then there was the deities like Anubis, and and then you have different. I mean, there's so much behind it, and we're wanting to look at human psychology in regards to why this would happen and how and what kind of an effect that would have. And then eventually go into a bit of quantum mechanics, when it comes to manifesting and tulpas, and how could we have brought or changed things in the course of history to have these beings that there are reports of? People are genuinely reporting that they're seeing a dog man, or they were chased by one, or that it's this flesh and blood thing. So I'm not there. It's not saying that they're not real and that they don't exist, but could we have brought them here? Could they have been created by us in some way? Because I think that the human mind is such a powerful thing. I mean, we've been talking about it this entire time. And I mean, and the other thing too is a lot of times people will look at it as woo. They label it as like a woo thing, interdimensional and stuff like that. But it really is, I think, part of classical science in regards to the fact that we know that a bunch of atoms put together create something solid. So the desk that you're sitting at, the chair that you're sitting in, is made up of all these little particles. And, just because we can't see something like microwaves, you can't see the microwaves heating up your food. It doesn't mean that they're not real. And so I really want to take a deep dive into the human mind and its role within the field of the paranormal.
Wow. Well, we're going to have to get you and Ron Murphy back to talk about this.
Yes,
we do.
Would love to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, we had Ron Murphy scheduled, but he had a family emergency. So I'm going to reschedule him anyway. And I'll talk to him about that. Maybe have you both come back on and we can talk about something.
And I mean, really, really sit down and tell us about all of this, because that does sound interesting, because there's so many opinions out there of what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's no experts, but I'll listen to everybody, because you know what? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what I love so much, because we don't know. And if we can come together, if you have, and that's something that I would really hope that we can eventually manifest within our community, is that you can have the people that are science-based and they are skeptical. And then you have the people that are experiencers and they're believers and knowers, and come together with your different beliefs, and then present something similar to what Ron and I are doing from these different perspectives, and see how that furthers the field. Nobody's doing that, in my opinion, from what I've seen. I could be wrong, but it seems like everybody has their camps and they're separate and they want to put up those blocks, but we don't have to. And if we did come together, it would be incredible of what could change.
Absolutely.
Right.
You do have some questions, Anne.
Yeah, I had to laugh. I didn't get to see who said that, but it says, "Forget Ron, we need more counseling."
Oh, gosh, I love it.
I started laughing when I saw that. Geez, who said that?
I put it up.
That's too funny. I actually started out years ago when I was in healing group as a spiritual counselor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about teaching classes on this?
You should.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with everybody, because I think that by being more transparent, that it can, that it can help other people and stuff like that to be as comfortable as I am now and doing this interview. I used to get so scared and I would not actually come on video because of my social anxieties and just generalized anxiety.
Yep.
And it was a miracle that I even did the presentation with Ron at the Dogman conference. I was definitely on that precipice of being like, oh, I don't know if I can go on. So I think in time, I will work towards manifesting doing something like that.
I know, but look at you. You're blooming. You're blooming.
And you know what? And you did overcome your fear.
Right.
You got up there and
I
spoke
did.
at that conference.
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
it's
truly
like everything
are.
is unfolding. Yeah.
You truly are an inspiration for all of us. You really are.
Right.
Oh, I
Right.
appreciate that. I appreciate that more than you know, because I definitely, I feel my purpose in life is to do my best and help in healing and sharing myself and my struggles. So that way I can maybe, light that candle
Right.
inside for others.
Yeah. We have a couple questions.
Right.
We only got a couple minutes. So if you don't mind
Okay.
answering a couple questions.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Because I know Be Kind had a really.
I don't see
She had
Be Kind's question in there, though.
It wasn't in caps.
I must have missed it. But Tamara, she asked, are auras real? And if so, how do you know what color you have?
Oh gosh, that's quite the question. So it's really interesting. When I went to all the mind, body, spirit expos that I used to go to, I remember there was classes on how to see an aura. And with my physical eyes, I've never been able to see one, but I have been able to. What's really weird is I'll feel it. Like I might describe somebody like, you're really green or you're really purple, and it doesn't really make sense. And I don't totally understand it yet. But then I have had people respond to me saying, oh, well, I had a picture taken of my aura and it was that color. I believe that we are energetic beings having a physical experience. And so we do radiate, and there is that, there's something called, gosh, there's like an outer body that's around our body. That's all stuff in classes that I'm trying to take and retain the information, but I do believe that they're real. I'm just not sure how to see them. Yeah.
I think different people with like different level of abilities, how in tune you are with it. We kind of talked about abilities on last night's show, but you can teach yourself to learn to see auras as well.
Right. I think that all those abilities are definitely something that you can. It's like working out your muscles. All of us have this ability, or else, the government and different people wouldn't have tried to experiment with like remote viewing and all of that kind of stuff. But I do believe that it's something that we can all learn.
Yeah. Scott M asked, what's y'all's thoughts on the grounding blanket?
So I've never heard of a grounding blanket. I've heard of weighted blankets.
Yeah.
And I have one. I do have a weighted blanket. Yeah. I can go on to this. It helps me sleep because I suffer from something called hypnic jerk. It's like when you're right at that sleep stage and you're going to sleep and your body will jerk itself awake. And I have that. So when I wear that weighted blanket, it does hold me still and like hug me. So I fall asleep really good now. I don't have that with that blanket.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. See, I always, I've had that as well. And I always would laugh and say, oh, it's a cat twitch.
Right.
Yep.
It's called a hypnic jerk. It's a real thing.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Wow. And then last question here, Felicia asked, is there a destination to our journey?
Well, okay. The way
That's
that
a deep
feel,
question.
the way that I feel like answering this one is that the end result of being here, in my opinion, from being in healing group and different things, is to really learn and embody unconditional love. And so the journey is to that, and to reach to that point, of course, you've got to learn forgiveness of the self, forgiveness of others. And I think that unconditional love is the destination, if you will. After we have been able to embody that, I have no idea.
And I just noticed one more little question, if anybody knows. Little Patty asked, how or where can we have our picture taken of your aura?
You can
I don't
just
know
Google
anybody
that.
doing that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either.
I don't either. I don't know anybody doing that personally.
Yeah, I don't. Well, this has been fun tonight. What a positive, uplifting show.
It has been. It has been.
guys.
Well, everybody knows a little bit more about me than they probably wanted to, but hey.
It's all good. You know what? Here's the thing. We're human. We're all human. We all have
Exactly.
ups and downs. You know?
Exactly.
And we're all here for each other, and that's what matters,
Yes.
That is exactly what matters.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should just thank everybody and so everybody can get on over to watch Josh when Josh comes on.
Yep. Want to thank DJ real quick, and Letitia, and BMR, Ristel for being a member for 2 months.
Yay!
And Chris Nichols.
Thank you, Chris Nichols.
Very much.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Every little bit helps. This is helping Chris and I get out there, get better content, go meet it with people. And it's just fantastic. All the love and everything that we feel from everybody. It's awesome. It's very, very, very awesome.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. So, guys, Paranormal Roundtable, I know they'll be going live tonight. So tune in over there. And until then, we will see you guys next Thursday. And hang on, don't hang up yet after we go off. Okay.
Of course. Thank you guys again.
You're so welcome.
Thank you. And good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. And we appreciate and love y'all. Good night.
Love y'all.